Okay, let's do an audio test here first. I think the provider we use here started something new and it's kind of screwing stuff up. Okay, so can you hear me? Okay, audio's good. Okay. All right, let's just give it a few minutes here. Not exactly sure what happened on the other one, but sometimes those things happen. And then I don't know how easy it is for people to find me back on here. Okay. Yeah, as Gene says, go ahead and type your picks in, and you can do that in caps. Let me go through the administrational items and get that out of the way. So we'll go ahead and do that. All right, good. Really? It's in the format of an iPhone. Huh. It's the same way I've been doing it. Are you on an iPhone, Stuart? Yeah, it looks like they started something new here. They've got a vertical layout for iPhone users. And that's new. Okay, I'm not sure how to turn it off. Yeah, but anyway, we'll try to fix that for next week. Okay. All right. Well, let me just get going here because I got to go through the administrational stuff again. All right. So just want to quickly go through the disclaimers regarding risk control, and these are our presentation disclaimers. Basically, the bottom line is we can't guarantee anything, right? It's the markets. Everything is probabilities. Past performance doesn't guarantee future performance. You need to understand and use risk control. And then anything that we suggest here is based off my opinion. So run that by your financial advisor. Do your own research because ultimately you are responsible for anything you do in the markets. Okay, so kind of just keep that in mind. All right, so let's boogie on here. Here are books that are available on risk control. My new book, The Art of Trading. That's all you need. Second edition that covers everything. And we'll put some links up in the recording as well. All right. Same thing with the software. We have software that we trade the markets with, and we'll put a link up in that area in the bottom, description area in the bottom. All right. And then give us a like real quick, even though we kind of wasted a little time here. Hope you still like us. All right. And then really quickly, don't forget, if you're wondering what the market's going to be doing, we have a whole service called the MOR Report, which covers that and gives you weekly stock picks. And then we're also have Saturday training education, which is free now. I think the next one is December 13th. All right. And we air that right. You can air that and watch us, I think, right on YouTube there. All right. And then also, too, we have come out with the new course on advanced price action trading made easy. The reviews are fantastic. So thank you for those. And it's a great course on learning how to look at fair value gaps, inversion fair value gaps, consequent encroachment analysis, bull and bear flags, context structure, etc. So all that is covered. All right, now let's jump in to why we're here. Okay, and I'm just going to start with your picks since we're running a little late here. So let me just find out where the first one is. And I think, Al, that may be you. All right, so I'm going to kill the cam here because it's taking up too much screen. All right, so there we have it. All right, first one we're going to look at is BGC. BGC. And bottom feeder for a possible long. Okay, so we have a little bit of a pullback. All right, no long on this, Al. Red PTF. This is our indicator here. I kind of rely on that because it has a 75% accuracy rate. And as you can see down here, it is red. Okay, so that is definitely a no-go on that one. Okay, let's take a look at your next one, UDMY. And same thing. Okay. I commend you for looking at longs here because that's exactly what you should be doing. It's just at this particular point with that red PTF, unless you know price action and kind of targets of where things are going, then you might have a little bit of a difficult time. So let me just quickly draw on this and show you what I'm talking about. So you've got, so right here, you've got fair value gap here, okay? You've got not one there. You don't have any on the way up here. You've got one here that we went above, which is really good. So we may go up into the mid $5.50 to $6 range, but then I'm looking for a move back down when it hits those fair value gaps. So I don't think I would do that, all right, unless you're going to be really in terms of price action on it, okay? All right, let's go to your next one, RWDR. Don't think RWDR. I think you may have, did I type it in right? RWDR. Yep. I think this is a no-go, Al. I think the symbol's wrong. All right. You can check that and type it back in. All right, Ed, let's get to you. CLS. Potential buys, longs. Let's see what we got cooking. All right. So we've got a market that's pretty high up. Ed, what's your intention on this? Are you going to hold it for a couple years? Is this a short-term trade where you're going to get out at the top? Simply because if you're going to hold it for a long time, you could go in a little bit now. When it sells off back to around halfway, you can go in with more dollar cost average in, but it's already run up so much that any trade here, I think, would have to be short-term, okay? Because you need to get out. And I think probably I would put a stop when that PTF turns yellow. I would trail my stops up. Okay. So could you go long? Yes. And why do I say that? Simply because at this particular point, you've got a fair value gap. We honored consequent encroachment. That's usually a pretty bullish signal to take this high out. So I think probably that's not a bad one for a move up to that high. And then you have to be really careful and really trail those stops. So short-term trade, yes, okay. Long-term trade, not so much. I'd wait for the bigger correction, okay. All right, let's take a look at your next one there, ZETA. All right, this one here, you had a little bit of consequent encroachment there, but you have a bearish one here. Okay, so here's what I would do on this one. Don't go long until we close above this bearish fair value gap, all right? Because a lot of times what will happen on this, what we're actually looking for another short if this holds and goes down, okay? So that's the only thing with that one. I would wait to get above that so we can bring that back next week, or keep an eye on it yourself, okay? And this is exactly the kind of stuff we talk about in the course. So you've got some good things looking on this, but you also have some areas where you kind of want to make sure you get above that. Notice here we had a nice fair value gap here. It honored the consequent encroachment there. So that was a good sign right there. You can see it hit the 50% mark, and now you're up at the next one. All right. So if you were, scalping this, you'd probably be looking possibly to see the reaction off this one here. So on that one, I'd wait a little bit, okay? All right, RAF. All right, and when I say consequent encroachment, that means the 50% mark on the fair value gap. All right, so let's see what we got here. All right, so we took out, did we take out equity down here? We got a low here of 3.67. We got a low here of 3.7. So we did not take that low out. We've got a bearish inversion fair value gap possibly, or a fair value gap, not inversion yet, but fair value gap here. All right. Again, I wouldn't go long on this until we see the reaction off this fair value gap. So the encroachment is going to be right smack in the middle. You can grab fib retracements if you want to get more exact on that. You can just basically do this to this, and that will give you your 50% mark. All right, so we want to see how it reacts. My problem with this one is we did not sweep equity down here. And so therefore, when we don't sweep equity, chances are we'll get this will turn into a area where you could reach up here and then sell off. Okay, so I would stand down on those for a little while. Okay, all right. Stuart, I think we know what you're seeing. You're seeing a vertical display instead of a horizontal display on your iPhone. And that, I'm not sure exactly how to fix that for you, because I'll have to read up on StreamYard, because they've changed things this week on it and they have that capability, but I'm not sure if I can turn it off or how to yet. I just saw it for the first time today. Okay. Okay. I'll work on it this week for next week. Okay. Netflix. Let's take a look at that. NFLX. All right. For Kumar. Hi, Kumar. Okay. So Kumar, what do we got cooking here? Is that a real price bar? Or actually, you know what that represents? It's the buyout of HBO Max. Okay. That's really what that is. All right. So, yeah. So that's going to screw things up with the data for right now. But that's what that represents. Netflix didn't really drop it. It kind of acquired HBO. So that's going to screw that up a little bit. So let's take a look at that next week. Okay. WBD, after they reset it. WBD, let's take a look at that. All right. All right. So you're already long on these. And at this particular point, I don't see any reason not to be long on WBD. Okay. So I think you're okay there. Let's see what we have here. Let's see if we have any longer term equity this thing could be shooting for. You have some up here and you have some here. Okay. So you have two areas there. So I think it's probably when you get close to this area, we probably will take equity here. There have been circumstances where you get darn close and it reverses. So you want to be looking for that. You've got a fair value gap down here. You got the pyramid down there as well. So you've got that. You may be getting another one form after this price bar. And so if you get another price bar up here, Kumar, here's the thing. So let's say you get one up here, another price bar that happens over the next couple of days. Well, then what you want to do is mark if it creates a fair value gap. We don't know if it's going to or not, but if it creates a fair value gap, what we want to do on that is draw that fair value gap in. If I can draw it, can't even get the drawer there. All right, so draw that in like that. Then you want to see if this is honored. And if you get a pullback that closes below this, exit, okay? Because then it becomes an inverted fair value gap. So we'll see what happens with that next week. But there's no reason to get out of it, okay? Stay with that. And you've got the pyramids here on the daily chart as well, giving this a lot of room. So, you know, these pyramids form, which is our software, on price action levels, okay? And basically, they're taking into account price action. And notice that this is an order block here. So the stop is under that. And that's exactly where you want it for right now. So the pyramids are doing a perfect job with that. All right, and that's WBD. Let's take a look at Intel for you. Okay, so let's see here. So we had some price structure here that we looked at a while ago and like the stability that created. Then it moved off that bottom. And in order to have an order block, you have to have a fair value gap after it. And you had that on a variety of time frames. So your first one was right here. Let's get rid of this one so it doesn't confuse you. Your first one is right here after the order block. And then you had another one here, another one here. So that was a strong move off that bottom, okay? then you have another one here and here. So I'd stay long on that, okay? And you have an order, you have a fair value gap here. You're running into an area, you're getting a little rejection here on this support here, okay? You have equity here and here and here and here. You have a jagged edge down here at the bottom, which shows manipulation, going back and forth, accumulation. So at this particular point, you could draw in a fair value gap here. All right. And look for a close below that. Okay. And you may want to take some profits then. You can always go back in, but you do have a green PTF. Okay. So I would imagine it would come down to the 50% encroachment area and bounce off at some point. We'll have to take a look at that next week. All right. Hopefully that helped you. All right. And Gene put a link up for the MOR report. And Ed, we're back to you with KTOS. Now let's take a look at this for a potential long on these. Okay. This is nice because we've got the retracement. So I like these, Ed, better than the other ones because the other ones you hadn't gotten much of a retracement yet. These, we've got the retracement. So now we can look for longs. And the software with the PTF and the owls and everything, this is showing bullishness, okay? This is not a major 4 on the weekly chart, but it is a major 4 here. So that's a good sign. So this is an Elliott wave 3, A, B, C. Okay, perfect. Order block has held. We had fair value gaps in here, and now we're moving off its bottom. Now, one of the things I like to look for, if I'm looking for a new trend, is, okay, we got a break in the trend line, so I'll remove that, but watch this. This is the kind of stuff I teach you in the course, but look at this. What's that? Bullish fair value gap after the order block that started it, right? Look at the encroachment right down into the fair value gap, but never a close below it. Wicks are a form of manipulation. You can have wicks below the order block, but you do not want to close below it. And preferably, what you'd like to see is exactly what happened here. A wick into the fair value gap, a close above the fair value gap, and then even we have another one here. So this would be a buy, okay? So KTOS is a buy here. So this is a good one. All right. And I would target the highs, okay? So 76 with a target above 112 on that, okay? And if we go here, this is a minor 4 inside of 3. So we'll probably get another hump up on the owl, which is our histogram on the weekly chart. So that's a real good one. Okay, good. PSIX. Take a look at this one. And this one has also come down. So this has got a red owl here on the weekly. So this is turning into something a little bit more major here. All right, I like the wick here, okay, 50% of the entire run. I think this was the 4 before possibly, but here we have here, nope, that was the 3 there. So A, B, C. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 1, 2. So that's looking okay. Let me just run this by here real quick for a fib retracement. Where do I want that? I want that at the low here. All right, so we wicked below it. We wicked below it. We went down 50% into the wick. Didn't go below it. All right, so what do we do here? We've got a situation here, a break here. We do have a fair value gap here, which is what I like to look for. Okay, a couple things. Okay, so that's a good sign. But we don't really, I guess we have a break in structure above this here, so that's okay. So this may pull back into that order block here, okay? And we may get a pyramid forming inside there. But this is looking pretty good. I like the owl to be a little more bullish, but it is starting to get more bullish. I don't think it's a wave 3 down. All right. I think it's a wave 4. It just happens to be the biggest hump of the owl in the last 144 fib number price bars. So I'm thinking here, if you go long here, all right, you want to probably put your stop. I would think below this bar. If you get stopped out, all right, you can always go back in. But at this particular point here, you could also put your stop right below these order blocks here. Okay. So it's kind of one of those things that you got the fair value gap. You could go long, or you could wait for the retracement and see the reaction. Okay. Yeah, that's not too bad because I like the long wick showing the manipulation. The only problem with it really didn't take out too much equity. I don't see any buy side, sell side liquidity down here rather, but it did match over here. So I kind of like the other one better, but this one's not bad either. I think on this one, I'd probably wait for it to pull back into the fair value gap and see what the reaction is on that. All right, LUNR. Okay, boy, look at the wick on that thing on February 24th of 23. Wow. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So we've got kind of a meandering bounce around here. We've got a green PTF. So, you know, we have things called green PTF trades. So when you have a green PTF and you've had to pull back, your risk to reward is pretty good on those. You can take those. But the problem is it would have been better if you entered right on the pyramid here, because then your risk to reward would be 2 to 1. But that's okay. You have fair value gaps here and here, here and here. I would wait for this one, okay, to pull back into the fair value gap here. When you're getting a little bit, it's going to probably be more highs here. It's just that, you know, in the weekly chart, you still got a channel. And so we're at the getting it, you know, at this area here is the high of the channel. So you got to kind of be, your entries are important on these. I don't like to get in on the middle of the channel. So I'd probably not do anything with that. All right. Simply because the weekly chart doesn't support it. All right. Clint, how are you, Clint? All right, Google. Let's see what we got for old Google. All right, I don't know if you're long on these or thinking about it, but you kind of missed the party on this if you're just getting long now, unless you're one of these people that are going to hold this for 30 years and they'll just dollar cost average in. But is it going to make more highs? Sure. Okay. We've got green PTFs and huge owls along the way. What's the risk is getting in and then having it pull back. That's the risk. Okay. Now we've had some nice areas here. All right. Bull flag, pyramids. Awesome. All right. Even another bull flag. Once you've had three of these bull flags, then you're getting risky for the trend to go up much higher. So I would stay away from this at this time. Wait for the correction, okay? Just wait. Patience is a big deal in trading the markets. All right, so now let's take a look at now in OW, red PTFs. I probably would not take this because of the PTFs. All right, Apple. Kind of like Google, already have taken off. Plus, we've got a bearish bar up here. See, there we go. So a little bit of a bearish bar forming here. So we may be getting a pullback. We've got a green PTF here. We're right at the bottom here of a fair value gap. So a couple ways you can approach trends. All right, if you're going to take the fair value gaps and the pyramids and it's late in the trend, then you can just keep trading the trend until it stops working. All right, so eventually you'll just get a loss on a perfectly good setup. And then you know it's probably time to stand aside for the correction. So that's one way you can approach it. But the thing here is we got green PTFs. Let's see what kind of reaction we get off this. And here's what concerns me a little bit. We may get a reaction today off it, but here's what concerns me a little bit. So we've got a fair value gap here to here, right? And so far, day's not over yet, but so far, all right, we've got prices below the fair value gap. So if it closes down there, I don't care about the wicks. I care about the body closing. If it closes below that fair value gap, that is a bearish sign. But you don't want to do anything until you get to close, okay? So I would not do this one, okay, for right now. All right, let's keep going here. Yep, I got those. All right, so Al's back with UDMY. Bottom feeder. I love Al's bottom feeder. All right, Al, once again, you're looking good here at the bottom. Problem is we got the red PTF. So that doesn't mean, it's not going to go up. I mean, look at these two. Check this out. I mean, look at these two huge fair value gaps. Okay, look at that. So that's a big deal. So we'll probably get up there. All right, it's hard to say, but probably, and then maybe a reversal. So maybe another $1 to the upside before we see a reversal. But you got to get above here and here and here. So this is not an ideal setup in terms of buying basically a cheap stock and holding it for double your money. I don't think you're going to double your money on this one because of that fair value gap, bearish one. Okay, so RWDR, is this the one that didn't show up before? Yeah, I'm not getting it. All right, so that one for some reason is not showing up. All right. And let's see what we got here. RDWR. Oh, it's RDWR. Okay. RDWR. Okay. Yeah, so you had RWDR. Okay. All right. So this one, we got green PTFs. I'm liking that. We got a fair value gap here. We did not take out equity there. Okay. I would hold off on this. And here's why. I want to see it get above this. All right. It's wicked into it. And I want to see prices close above this gray area before I consider a long. Okay. So I would not do this one. Okay. And that is RDWR. Okay. So let's see. Stuart says the display is better on this link to the session. Where did that link show up? Is it just the one that's on our page next to the one you're watching? I mean, why is there two links? Maybe one link is for the iPhone and one link is for the PC. But does it say that? I think StreamYard. I don't think it's YouTube. I think I use StreamYard. And I think what they've done here is they've created a session, double sessions for every session I create. One maybe for the iPhone, one maybe for the PC. I'm not sure, but I'd have to look at that. All right. That's what it sounds like to me. All right, let's take a look at BE. All right, and this is for, I'm not sure who this is for. All right, so let's take a look at that for a long. Okay. So we've had a nice little correction here. Okay, let me just do a couple things here. I'm liking kind of what I see, and I'll tell you why. This is looking real good. Okay, so let's grab here to here. All right, so we ended in a fib retracement. That's always nice. We have a beautiful manipulation wick right here. Ooh, gotta love that. And what did that do? It took out equity and went right into the consequent encroachment of the bullish fair value gap. Boy, textbook. Okay, did not close below. All right, bounced off this. We had a fair value gap here where prices quickly, nope, not there. We had a fair value gap here. All right, just formed. Okay. So go long, stop goes under the order block before the fair value gap. So right here, this is where your stop is, right here. Okay, target here. Okay, take profits here, stop here. You could, let's see. Yeah, that's what I would do. Trying to think if there's any. Okay, we got a couple partial. So in other words, if you go in with more than one, well, if you go in with multiple shares or multiple contracts, you've got a situation here where you have a bearish fair value gap. So I would look to take my partial somewhere here with a final one above here, okay? And then you could do a measured move on that. So that's a buy, okay? BE is nice. BE is a buy. Good job on that, whoever you are. Okay, ASTS, OBIA. You're OBIA. Okay, so lovely on this one too. Okay, so big bar moving to the upside. A couple things here. All right, I'm liking it. Did it take out equity? Not really, but it did go into just above the order block here. So that was good. It did not take out equity here. All right, let me just go on here and just see a few things. So we got a bearish fair value gap. I'd like to see a close above that. Okay. We've got obviously bullish ones down here, so that's fine. But I'd like to see a close on that or an honor of the encroachment underneath these. So let's just draw in a super big, I'm sorry. Let me just draw in a super big one here to here. We'll go across there like that and then up here. So here's the situation. All right. We ideally want to see a close above here because this is bearish. We could get a move straight down from here. Okay. And that would be consequence encroachment, sell model. Okay. Market maker sell model right there. That's possible. However, when you have something like this, this is either going to be manipulation or it's going to be legit. So if it comes down here, honors this, goes up here and closes above this, you can go long, stop under here. Okay. So I wouldn't go in yet, but this is set. If you wait, if you're patient a little bit more and wait, you can wait for that to happen, which I just explained. Okay. But BE is a go. Good one. Okay. Yeah, everybody's telling me there's two versions of this presentation on YouTube. And I think, again, I'll say again, I think it's because there's a iPhone presentation and a desktop PC presentation. And that's not YouTube. I think it was created by the service I use called StreamYard. I'll have to check that out. That's a new one for me this week. They didn't do that before. So, you know, I'm just in the black just as much as you are. Okay. All right. So Gene's saying, if you still are in this room, you can move over to the bigger display by using this link. Okay. Thank you. All right. So here we are. A couple more here. SPGI. All right, I'm going to have to go here in a little bit. Simply, my daughter's getting an award in college, so I got to go into that presentation. All right, so I'm going to have to go pretty soon here. Okay, so let's see what we got. SPGI. Stuart, this is you, I believe. All right, so I don't know if you're long, short, or what, but this is in the accumulation stage here. I mean, if you're using the pyramid, your stop would be under here. But I'm not looking for anything on there. That doesn't knock my socks off, okay? So I would pass on that. RMD, let's see what we got for that. All right, so did we take equity out? Did we go into here? No. We did take equity out here. That's almost like turtle soup there, possibly. Okay, so that's okay. Nice manipulation bar down here. I'm liking that. All right, we took out equity first here and returned and went lower there. Let's see. We're not getting big follow through here. And I don't see any meaningful fair value gaps. We got one possibly forming here. Okay. But the weekly is looking bullish. So I'm thinking here, this is kind of a tough one because we have the manipulation, we have the turtle soup, we have this, we have that. We didn't get a good fair value gap off the bounce, but we have a nice bullish bar here after taking the bottom out. All right, so here's, I guess, the best way to play this. If you're really, for a long position, you got a green PTF. Go long if it clears this top on the chart on the right. So go long, let's say, if it gets above the bearish fair value gap here. All right, so I'm just going to draw that out here. You want to get above here. You want to close above here before going long, okay? And then you can take it up to the all-time high or target, whatever. Here would be a partial, and then here would be the target, and into here, okay? So if you're not long yet, I think probably just wait for it to close above here to be extra safe, okay? And then LEN. Let's see what we got here. Green PTF. Okay, we're kind of still into the fair value gap area there. We had a nice wicked bar there, fair value gap here, messy down here, fair value gap there, order block. Okay, not bad. Let's see what we got here on the daily. Hope you don't mind me thinking out loud. All right, so we got that. We got that. All right. I'd like to see a close above this area. Okay. It's fine right now. Okay, but we don't have rejection yet. So you got to hold off. Okay. Okay. MA, let's take a look at that one. All right, so let's see what we got cooking here. Long, let's see. Okay, they did take equity there. They took it there, which is the same. But there were no fair value gaps after taking it. That's not an order block. This could be going into a range a little bit. Hold off on this one, okay? Okay. Gene's saying YouTube didn't update, generate two versions, but the one that attached to me. Still, I don't think it's YouTube. I think it's StreamYard. All right, MAR for a long. Anyway, I'll try to get all that ironed out by next week. Find out what's going on with that. Okay, so let's just see where we're going with that. Ooh, we took equity out here. We got a fair value gap. And I would not do a long here. Okay, not yet. But let's see. We got a couple things going on here. You've got a bearish fair value gap that just formed. Okay, so you don't want to go long. You've got a bullish one that formed on the leg up. This one. And so far, respected. I don't think you can go long until you get above this bearish fair value gap. Okay. This one. And then I'm not sure where it's going. I don't think this was a good one. Yeah, Mars Marriott. Okay. All right. I'm not going to do crypto, so I'm not looking up gold versus the dollar, silver versus the USD. I don't even know if I have that data plugged in. All right, let's see. Google, Apple. All right. Did I look up Apple? Clint, for you? I think I might have. I'm not sure. All right. Yeah, we looked at Apple already. Okay. I don't think I would do anything with Apple yet. Remember, that was the one no-go. Okay. Well, I think that's it. Okay. So I want to thank everybody for all the likes. Okay. Considering that it's a little bit of torture going through here, right? With the double screens, all the tech issues in the beginning. So appreciate the likes. It's nice of you. And so we'll be back, of course, next week as well. We'll try to iron all that stuff out and see what happened. I don't think it's YouTube. I think it's StreamYard that produced the double, but I could be wrong. I have to research it out and check it out. If you like this kind of analysis, this was a combination of using software, all right, along with price action, then you're definitely going to want to check out that course. I can teach you in that course how to do all this. So if that interests you, check it out. I'll put a link below. But I want to thank everybody for coming. Okay, great to have you here. All right, again, sorry for the glitches in the beginning. All right, we will have the recording up, Antonio. Yep, we will have that up. We'll pick it up again next Friday. Okay, so thanks so much. Everybody have a good weekend, all right? And we'll see you next week. Thanks so much. Oh, Gene, put the link up for the course. Gene, if you heard me, put the link up for the course, okay? I think, who is it? Yeah, will be it. We like that, okay? All right, and that's for the price action course. Okay, she'll get you that link in just a minute. Just hang tight. She'll put it in the comments area. All right, I'll put a little music on, and we will see you next week. Oh, and just before I close the room, quick recap. I know the music's on a little bit. Hopefully you can hear me okay. So on the buy for today, KTOS, PSI, and BE. Okay, those are the three that I like today, just as a recap. All right, see you next week.